51 of the Brash Sports Podcast, brought to you by Gas Station Food. Because food poisoning is only temporary, but the memories, they last a lifetime. I'm Josh. I'm here with my best friend Brandon. We've got a whole slate of Week 3 NFL games to get into and a bunch of other nonsense. So let's go ahead and get right into it, B. How the fuck are you doing today, buddy?
Ooh, rough weekend, my friend. But hey, it's gonna happen. They can't all be winners, can they? But
Yeah.
rough week for my home team, rough week for my fantasy teams. I mean, hey, sometimes our parlay, my God, my picks. I mean, one shitstorm after another. But today's starting lineup, of course, will be the Brash Sports page. We're gonna bust that bad boy open. We'll get into the NFL Week 3 and our new segment, the NFL Week in 60 or so seconds. We'll update our power rankings, and of course, we'll talk about the Thursday night football matchup and make our predictions for Thursday night. We will be holding off on the Brash official world rankings for this episode. That is I'll take full responsibility. That is me that has decided to skip the world rankings today. So
wait. So the email you forwarded me from the UN telling us to not do the world rankings anymore, that was all fake. I thought the UN was stepping in and says, guys, you're just two losers with a podcast. You can't just officially world rank things. That was all.
How dare you?
That was all a hoax. Okay.
Right. That was just to buy me some time.
Okay.
And I couldn't think of a better excuse. So.
You'd rather come up with an elaborate scheme to get out. Okay. I actually appreciate that a lot. So we'll come back with it next week then, and we'll bring some fucking fire next week for a world ranking.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to talk a little bit about what happened in Week 3. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. You know.
You want?
Yeah, I guess
or,
so.
Should we just call it a show?
We could just end it here. We could talk about cats.
That was good.
We could talk about dogs.
Yeah. I got a dog right here. We can talk about Gus. I'm talking about what he's doing.
We could do a whole show on Gus. That guy, he's something.
It's true. Well, we'll have to plan that as a Brash Plus exclusive in the future sometime. But let's go ahead and get to our Week 3 in 60 or so seconds, starting off with the New York Football Giants, who proved they can't compete with the top teams in the NFC, losing 30-12 in San Francisco Thursday night. The Cleveland Browns defense, they put on yet another clinic, stomping out the Titans 27-3. The Lions, they bounced back at home against the Falcons, winning their matchup 20-6. The Green Bay Packers overcame a 17-point deficit at home in the fourth quarter to defeat the New Orleans Saints 18-17. Miami Dolphins, they decided to activate God mode and put up a 70-burger on the bitch-ass Broncos. The LA Chargers tried to give up the game away to the Vikings, but ended up taking that dub on the road anyway, 28-24. The Patriots went into beautiful New Jersey and squashed the Jets 15-10 in the undisputed thriller of the week. Sam Howell did his best Zach Wilson impersonation for the Commanders, who lost a close one to the Bills 37-3. The Houston Texans went into Jacksonville and fucked up those Jags, who appeared to be overrated as hell. The Colts shocked the Ravens in Baltimore on the foot of Matt Gay, winning 22-19. The Panthers came up short on the road in Seattle, losing 37-27 to the Seahawks. The Chiefs beat the Bears at Arrowhead 41-10, becoming one of 17 teams that will beat Chicago this year. The Arizona motherfucking Cardinals brought the Dallas Cowboys hype train to a screeching halt with a 28-16 win. Steelers bet on themselves on Sunday night in Las Vegas, taking out the Raiders 23-18. The Eagles defense brought Baker Mayfield back down to earth on Monday night in a 25-11 win against the Buccaneers. And finally, the Bengals took care of business at home against the Rams on the back of a hobble Joe Burrow, winning 19-16, and that is your Week 3 in 60 or so seconds time.
Beautifully done, Brandon. Why don't you take a seat for a second, man? Have some water.
It was probably more like 80 seconds, but
I know we should. We next time we need to have an official clock. We need some good music for it too. I feel like. So hopefully,
don't worry, I can edit. Yeah,
we can edit. We can edit all that in. We'll see how long.
I can put a buzzer in there.
Yeah, but a buzzer. Need a buzzer.
Uh-huh.
This show has been begging for a buzzer. We gotta have one. All right, beautiful. No, great.
All
Great
right.
work. Let's get in the headlines from all those games.
Of course, the top headline of the week, no doubt, the top headline maybe of the season, and will be for the entire season, is the Miami Dolphins, who made history on Sunday, beating the absolute brakes off the Broncos, 70-20. That's right, you heard me right. They scored 70 points. Scored 10 touchdowns and the most overall points since the Giants scored 72 in 1966. Pick up sticks against the Washington Redskins. Tua threw for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks. And Dolphins are running back Devon. Is it a Caney?
So I thought it was A Chain, like the rapper 2 Chainz, but it's actually A Chan. Is how all the experts have been pronouncing it. A Chan.
Devon A Chan went from being like 0.2 rostered in fantasy leagues to 100% after rushing for 203 yards on only 18 carries. He also tacked on 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns because he decided to have his career game in his rookie season. And that's one way to do it. So good for him. Good for the Dolphins. The absolute freak show on offense. I mean, at this point, we said it after that game. Really, we said it before that game, which is we need to see somebody be able to show that they can slow down that Dolphins offense before they're not considered just the overall favorite to win everything this year. I mean, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. That offense is better.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So crazy stat from this game. And first of all, we have to acknowledge they could have put up 80. They could have put up closer to 90. They weren't trying to run this score up. They had backups in. They were running the ball every time. In fact, they were in field goal range at the end of the game, could have kicked a field goal to go up to 73, which would be the new record. Mike McDaniel, class move, said, no, we're going to kneel the ball. This isn't about the score. This isn't about running it up. You know, we're trying to win a Super Bowl here. We're not trying to do anything but that. And that's just such a class move. I really liked hearing that. But no, I saw a crazy stat that the 6 fastest plays of the NFL season all came from this team. And they're all at like 21 miles an hour or over. So they've just decided, hey, let's get nothing but guys that can run faster than everybody else. It started with Tyreek Hill, and then they brought Mostert in. This Achane guy is fast as lightning, like he was a track star. And they're just bringing in the fastest players and spreading out that offense and exposing holes in the defense. And yeah, I don't know how a team can slow it down. It's crazy. And we've been saying it for weeks. They're so much fun to watch. And it was really on display this weekend. I mean, I'm a Red Zone channel guy. It seemed like every 5 minutes they were jumping back to that game like, oh, Dolphins scored again. Oh, here's another one. And it's just these guys outrunning the entire defense. So yeah, in Broncos, you bitch ass Broncos. You have got to be so embarrassed by this. This is just awful. How do you let them get up to 70 points? You got to, at some point you have to figure this out, but maybe nobody will. Maybe nobody will. And they're just going to do this every week. It's possible.
Well, it couldn't happen to a better guy in Sean Payton. I told you.
Yeah.
He was talking some shit in the preseason. Although, again, most of that was geared toward Nathaniel Hackett, but even Hackett never had a team score 70 points against him. So, Sean Payton also, did you see that post-game presser? Oh, that was
in a good mood.
And they're, these guys like Brandon Staley, Sean Payton, there's just, a number of other head coaches. They're really going after these news reporters, just doing their job. It's like, come on, guys, you lost. You still have to show some sort of class when you're getting interviewed. Yeah. I mean, or just be a little bitch and don't even go to the presser. But That's really bad.
That's
Can't do that.
that's
But,
the worst thing you could do is to just not show up.
but they're so
Yeah.
fucking
Dude,
defensive. I mean,
just take your medicine, man. It's not
take
that. Just
it.
take your
Yeah.
fucking medicine, man, or figure
And
out a way to stop the other team. Figure out a way to not let
that's
70
the key right
points
there.
get scored on you.
Well, I did have the over for that one.
Yes,
so
in the
that one
parlay,
hit.
we
That
both.
hit. That was the only. I think that was my only parlay pick that I actually got right. But whatever, I'll take it.
That's correct.
God, and that's just another fucked up week. But
well, it's okay. We went 3 for 3, which is actually better than the week before. So, or 3 and 3, I should say. So could
okay.
You know,
Right.
we're building.
Yeah.
We're building. We're building. We're building. We're only losing $6 a week. Eventually, we're going to hit one for $500 or whatever, like we did the Super Bowl, and then we'll be good to go. We'll cover all these losers, these early season losers, while the NFL is still very unpredictable. We're going to cash in later. Mark my words.
Well, the other story I wanted to throw in, because let's be honest, outside of the Miami Dolphins 70-point thriller, there really wasn't a whole lot this week in terms of just big noticeable headlines.
Depending on who you ask.
No big injuries, which is a good thing. Derek Carr, we'll just mention this since I know you tossed it in there. He is currently week to week with a shoulder injury. I guess that was a shoulder sprain is what they were calling it.
Yeah, the AC joint or something like that is what I read. Okay. It's basically that's like the medical term for separated shoulder, but there's degrees of separation. Like if you have a full-blown separated shoulder, it's pretty fucked up. But you can also sprain the separation instead of having it fully separated, and that's kind of what he did. So yeah, that was really the only notable big injury from what I remember.
Yeah. I was trying to rack my brain. Nothing came to mind. So
I think like 7 more Ravens went down, but that's just to be expected at this point.
Well, the Ravens, speaking of the Ravens, they got upset in Baltimore against the Indianapolis Colts, and it was really, as mentioned before, by the foot of Colts kicker Matt Gay, who became the first NFL kicker to hit 4 field goals from 50-plus yards in a single game. Overall, he went 5 for 5 on the day. And, yeah, it was just a big upset because Indy was without Anthony Richardson. Gardner Minshew magic does it again, even though he did pull a Dan Orlovsky. Did you see that?
He did.
That was hilarious. Yep. He wanted to give that game away, but the rest of the team just they played tough, man. And Lamar Jackson had some stupid mistakes at the tail end of that one, but still, just a huge bummer for Baltimore and those Ravens fans. And I know when I was talking on the phone with you, that game was still wrapping up, and you had some money on the line. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were. I teased the Ravens down to like a money line. I did not trust that spread, but I definitely trusted the Ravens to win. And yeah, when they got that safety, I think I was on the phone with you when that safety happened, and that was actually covering, right? They just had to not fuck it up, and they fucked it up, of course. But yeah, good for Matt Gay, man. Like he outkicked Justin Tucker. When does that ever fucking happen? Never.
No.
Never does it. No, when Baltimore is involved in a game and you say, wow, a kicker won this game for a team, you go, oh, must be Justin Tucker. Nope. It was Matt Gay.
Yeah, I know. It is surprising that or I guess in a way ironic that Matt Gay was able to make NFL history in Baltimore against Justin Tucker's team, who Justin Tucker, may in all likelihood go down in history as the best NFL kicker of all time.
He's still the best. He didn't relinquish anything. He did have a 61-yarder to win, and it came up short. So, but yeah, he's not relinquishing that. He's still in my mind. I mean, the best in our lifetime for sure. Maybe,
but it was not his day. It was Matt Gay's day.
It was a gay day in Baltimore.
It was one gay day in Baltimore for sure. Did you? Now you might have not heard this next story, Josh. I mean, this one I really had to dig deep to find this one.
Yeah, you went to like Teen Vogue magazine to find me
Yeah, exactly.
17 magazine.
Kids Choice Awards magazine. Where the headliner is
Nickelodeon
that Travis,
magazine. I miss
Nickelodeon magazine. The headliner is that Travis Kelce's officially banging Taylor Swift. That's the head of Nickelodeon magazine. Of course, yeah, you couldn't avoid this stupid story. I had to throw it in there just because, again, it's the reason I haven't watched any sports news the past 2 days, because that's all they were throwing in your face. But I did feel it was interesting that Travis Kelce's jersey sales have skyrocketed over 400% since Sunday, after the cameras went up and showed Taylor Swift in the box suite, decked out in all that Chiefs gear. Coincidence? I think not. There's just, again, there's something about that human being in Taylor Swift, that if you hitch your wagon to Taylor Swift, she will make you some fucking money like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. I guess people just, there's those crazy Swift fans were just like Swifties, as they call them.
They do call them Swifties.
Well, they saw that and they're like, maybe if I get Travis Kelce jersey, Taylor Swift would like me.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah,
that's definitely what they were thinking. No, the Taylor Swift hype, man, it's wild. I have a 9-year-old daughter, so therefore Taylor Swift is a pretty big part of my life. I can't avoid it. She went to the concert. She did the whole rigmarole. I don't hate most of her music. Like, some of it's bad, but a lot of it's just
How many songs can you name? Be completely honest.
I could probably name a dozen.
Okay.
I could probably name a dozen. But she has way more than that, obviously. She has a dozen albums, I think, at this point. Like, it's crazy how much music she pumps out.
I'm familiar. I mean, I understand her popularity, but so yeah, Travis Kelce's hitting that.
Good for him. He needed a break in his life. He needed something to go his way.
Yeah, life's been tough for Mr. Travis Kelce recently. It's nice that Taylor Swift could throw him a bone, or he threw her a bone. Only 3 teams remain undefeated after 3 weeks of NFL football. That, of course, being your electrifying Dolphins, your Philadelphia Eagles, and your one lowly West Coast team in the San Francisco 49ers. That seems a bit surprising. Then again, I don't really guess I pay attention that much every single week 4 as to how many teams are still undefeated, but it just seems like only 3 after 3 weeks seems low, but that's a good thing.
I agree. It does seem low. But yeah, you're right. I bet if we look back on last year and the year before that, it's probably something similar. I mean, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I know the Eagles were undefeated forever last year, but yeah, it's pretty wild. Parity is a real thing in the NFL, man. Any given Sunday, any team can win. That's why it's the best league in the world. Like, you never know when Houston's going to go into Jacksonville and just fucking hammer a team that everyone thought would win easily. The Colts going into Baltimore, nobody saw that coming. So very, very fun league to watch. And yeah, only 3 undefeated. That means pretty much everybody is still in it, except for the Broncos, because they are some bitch ass motherfuckers.
Broncos and Bears. See you later. Bears. You are out.
Matchup of the week 4.
You can't wait, man. I'm going to be waiting all day for a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, dude. Get your popcorn ready.
You know the other song Carrie Underwood sings. Waiting all day for a Sunday afternoon. It doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it really doesn't.
You will not want to miss the Bears-Broncos game in week 4. They will not be mentioned in our week 3. Actually, this is our week 4 power rankings. Last week was our week 3 because it's going in to week 4. So we have some changes. I have some big changes, Josh. Big changes to my power rankings, given that my number 1 team lost to the Arizona Cardinals, and my number 4 team, they lost to the Indianapolis Colts with Gardner Minshew. So I had to make some big adjustments, and I think finally The Rock has come back. No, I think finally the team that I have sitting at number 1 and the team I have at number 2, they're going to be sitting at 1 and 2 the entirety of the season. They have to. There's no way they're going to let me down and slip out of my 1 and 2 spots. They might flip back and forth, but they should hold on to 1 and 2 for the entirety of the season. They've proven to me in just 3 weeks that they are the class of the NFL. So
Yeah.
let's get right to it. Who you got at your number 5 slot
Well,
going in to week 4?
Number 5 is the only team that is fresh on my list. Otherwise, my other 4 teams, very predictably, are in there from last week. But making their
Okay.
first appearance on my power rankings are the Buffalo Bills. They looked really good. I think that they would beat the Cowboys. I think they'd beat the Browns. I don't even know who else is close to the top of my list. But the way I do it, man, who can beat who? I think the Bills could beat everybody in the NFL except for the last 4
Top
teams
4.
on my list. So good for the Bills, man. They showed me something in Washington. They looked really good.
Yeah, in fact, I'm a fucking idiot. Just so you know, I
Last
don't know
second
why
change
I
going here?
did that. I didn't. I just wrote it down wrong. That's not what I was. Whatever. Number 5 was always number 5. I have the you're not gonna like this at all. I got the Kansas City Chiefs at number 5. It is the first time them being in my top 5 this season,
Really?
surprisingly. But
That is
yeah,
surprising.
but here's the thing, okay? Um, they have 2 wins, right? And they beat the Bears and they beat the Jaguars. So I'm going to back off a little bit here, and just take a look at who they've beaten and how they've performed. And given that they're still lucky to be in my top 5 out of all the 2-1 teams, in my opinion. But they beat the Bears and they beat them the way they should. So therefore, the Chiefs have made it into my top 5, and they're now comfortably in the top 5 power rankings, sitting at number 5. That's a good spot, I think. Again,
Yeah.
because the 4 teams above them, I think they'd have a much more difficult time playing them than they would the Jaguars or the Bears.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a
And they
matchup.
barely beat the Jags. They barely beat the Jags.
I think
I mean,
we'll get to the Chiefs in a minute. They're obviously coming up, but I think a matchup between any of these teams in either of our top 5s would be fucking awesome to watch, and probably could go either way, for the most part. Number 4, I have got the Philadelphia Eagles. They are hanging strong at 3-0. They haven't lost yet.
Yep.
To me, though, their wins haven't been super convincing. I think they look a little broken. They just don't feel like the same team from last year. And I think if they matched up with a really great team, and they will soon, that they'll get exposed. So they're not quite the same team, but you still have maybe the best O-line, maybe the best D-line. I mean, they win games in the trenches, which is the way that I like teams to win games. I think that's kind of where you start. So the Eagles are going to be in the top 5 for the whole year. I think they're still very good. To me, they're not at the same level as they were last year, but they're probably going to prove me wrong. I only have them at 4 because I hate them.
Okay. Yeah, they were in my top 5 last week, and they are still there. But number 4 as a first timer for my top 5 for this season is the Buffalo Bills, and it's I got to see firsthand that their defense is a lot better than I gave them credit for. They don't fuck around. Granted, my Redskins did everything they possibly could to help them out. That said, I'm not going to take away from the talent that's on that Bills defensive line and that secondary. They were just so fast, and it seemed like they knew what we were going to do before we even did it. I mean, we were able to, it was 16-0 or 16-0 going into the fourth quarter, but the game finished 37-3. So they didn't let up. And if Josh Allen plays like he has the last 2 weeks, they're going to be extremely difficult for anybody to stop. Bills Dolphins this upcoming Sunday is going to be unbe-fucking-leavable.
Yeah, that's number 2
in
the games of the week. They're number 2 behind the Bears Broncos.
Bears Broncos. Yeah. Of course, Bears Broncos steals the spotlight from anybody, but yeah, so there you go. I have the Chiefs at 5 and the Bills at 4. And again, it's not just because they beat the shit out of my team. I mean, there's going to be other teams that beat the shit out of the Redskins this year. It was the fashion in which they've won their last 2 games since that debacle against the Jets, which was their give me game when Josh Allen had his 3 interceptions and 1 fumble. So, again, when he's on point and he's not turning the ball over, they're very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah, and I mean the Jets needed to beat them with a punt return or kick return, right? Like,
yeah.
And the Jets were also on a crazy emotional high from Aaron Rodgers going down. Like the adrenaline was just insane.
They were thunderstruck.
They really were. So yeah, no, I like that pick. In my number 3 spot, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think that on a neutral field, they would beat the Bills or the Eagles. I do think that they're better. I love their defense this year. Obviously, the Bears make a lot of defenses look really good, but to me, they just get better every single week, and I think they will get better throughout the year. I think once it comes playoff time, nobody is going to want to play the Chiefs, especially if you have to go into Arrowhead. But and they're the reigning champs. Like, they're going to be in my top 5 until they show me otherwise. Did you lose me there?
I lost you there for a little bit. Nice. I had to make sure I wasn't completely frozen too. I'm like, is it still if I move around here, it's
a little glitchy,
still registering.
End, but
you're back. You're back.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. This sucks. I got the Eagles at number 3. And again, my approach as it's been since the beginning of the season is just taking from what we've seen so far this year and this regular season. So spoiler alert, the last 3 undefeated teams are my top 3. And I do think the Eagles were impressive on Monday night. Yes, I know it was against the Bucks. And, it seemed like it was a slow moving game and it took them a while to get, what was it, like 25 points or something?
25-11. Weird final score there.
It was probably another first ever, score in the league because it's already happened like 3 times this year. But I got to give them the respect. I had the Eagles being a top 3 team coming into the season, and it took them a while to get into my power rankings and get into the top 3, but they're finally there. So Eagles at 3-0 at number 3. And, here we go. Yeah. Here we go, Josh.
Number 2, 49ers. I think we're probably on the same page there. They are just really good.
Yeah.
They have the best.
How'd you know?
I think they have the best roster of any NFL team. I know I've a broken record at this point, but they're really good, man. And if we get what I think we both want and both think will potentially happen, pending no injuries or anything, a 49ers Dolphins Super Bowl would be so.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome. So fucking cool.
Shanahan and the protege and that offense versus the defense, dude. Oh God, please let that happen.
Yeah, let's
NFL script writers, please make that happen for us because
we're jinxing it.
I know we're jinxing it. We're jinxing it. I don't want to say too much more, but there's
no chance that game's going to happen for the Super Bowl.
You're right.
There's no chance in hell.
It would just be so good. There's no chance it could happen. So yeah, but in the number 2 spot, well deserved 49ers. They were my number 1 team last week, but come on, you can't deny what's happening in South Florida.
49ers 2, Dolphins 1. I mean, again, I think that the Dolphins and 49ers should remain the top 2 spots for the entirety of the rest of the season, barring any significant injuries. God, I hope not. And but who knows? We might see a little flipperooski between the two, but we got a long way to go, Josh. A long way to go.
But these first 3 weeks have flown by, man. Fuck this.
It always does.
It always does, man.
Does.
It's gonna be over before you know it, and we're gonna be back to fucking NBA and NHL.
Yeah, let's worry.
We gotta savor these moments while they last, Brandon. Savor them.
Well, NFL Week 4 is upon us, and it's getting started here in a couple nights with the Thursday night football matchup of the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. We got some quick stats to get to in terms of where these two teams line up against one another and how they rank in the NFL. For yards per game, you got the Detroit Lions, who are sitting at 8th at 381.3 yards per game. The Packers, they're down there at 22nd at 297.7 yards per game. Points per game, Lions at 12th. It's respectable, 24 per game. And the Packers, surprisingly, at 8th at 26.7 yards against per game. You got the Lions at 29. They only allowed 29 yards per game. It's amazing.
They played the Bears 3 weeks in a row.
Their defense is good just because they played the Bears. No, they allowed 297.3 yards per game. They're sitting at 11th. The Packers, on the other hand, they allow 336.3, but that's only right in the middle of the pack of the NFL at 15th. The points allowed, Lions at 15th at allowing 21 points per game, and the Packers 13th allowing 20.7 points per game. The Lions currently favored by a point in this one, and the over-under is currently sitting at 45. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This is not the most exciting Thursday night football matchup.
Really?
I'm just going to say it.
Dude,
not to me.
I think this is
I guess it's divisional. And the Packers had that big, comeback last week to beat the Saints. What did the Lions do? Oh, they lost. Did they lose?
No, they
won. They beat the Seahawks.
They lost to the Seahawks 2 weeks ago. This week,
oh Jesus!
This week, they beat.
Yeah, you're right. It is flying by.
Who do they beat this week?
You have to look it up. You got to look it up too. Yeah, you look at you little cheater. They bounced back at home against the Falcons. They're 20-6. Okay,
they beat the shit out of the Falcons.
Okay,
dude, this is 2-2-1 teams playing for first place in a division. Like I think that's as good as you could ask for in terms of drama for a Thursday night game in my mind. So yeah, dude, I'm really looking forward to this game.
Well, the Lions are 3-2 against the Packers in the last 5 matchups. I'm gonna, oh man. I mean, I almost went with the Lions here, Josh, but I'm going with the Packers at home. It looks like my theory of last season that didn't pan out is starting to pan out this year, which is the teams on that short turnaround for Thursday night. The winner tends to be the home team because we're now 2-0 with the short week of Thursday night football. Of course, I'm not counting the Lions because that doesn't count. There was no short week because that was the NFL kickoff. Right. But but there you go. The Lions are already 1-0 on Thursday, so maybe Thursday might be their day.
I think it is.
But you're cool. You're going with the Lions?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is their thing. They love Thursday night games. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Dan Campbell and the boys, they just love playing Thursday nights. I'll tell you that right now. No, I mean, I just think the Lions are a better team. And I think that, the Packers kind of got bailed out on Sunday. They were losing 17-0 to the Saints in the fourth quarter. Then Derek Carr went down. Jameis came in. Then the Saints just couldn't stop the Packers. I just don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row for them. And I think the Lions are just a much better offense. They will get the job done. Also, I think that there's some injury issues on the Packers O-line So Aiden Hutchinson for Detroit, he's a beast. He's been racking up sacks this year. I think he's going to have Jordan Love running all over the place. So, yeah, I think this is a big spot for the Lions. This is kind of where this is the game where they go, okay, we are going to be the team that wins this division. I know I picked him to. I know a lot of people did. There's a lot of hype on Detroit. And I think this is the week where they go, no, you can trust us. We are going to be that team. We're going to take control of the division right here, right now. And yeah, only a 1-point spread. I would have thought it'd be a little bit higher for the Lions personally. So yeah, this to me has the makings of Lions going on the road, getting it done.
Yeah. I suppose I'm looking at the just the broad picture of the whole season. I think these two teams will come down to the Packers and Lions for the division title. Obviously, look at the Vikings and the Bears. Come on. And I think they'll split. And I think when they split, I think I'm just going to go with the home team. So I'm going with the Packers this week. If this one were in Detroit, I'd be going with the Lions instead. So
That's fair.
There's my theory there. But yeah, statistically, and just going off of what we've seen thus far in 3 weeks, you should absolutely be going with the Lions, but the NFL doesn't make that much sense all the time. So this is going to be your right off the bat, quick curveball. But I like how we're differing because, it's a good way to kick off week 4 with different picks.
By the way, I was 3-0 last week in picks.
This is true.
Picks we differed on.
This is true. So
I needed every single one too because I
need payback. I need to get payback. So it starts right here Thursday night. Quick turnaround. Got to get that leg up. Taylor Swift knows a thing about that. Okay.
All right, beautifully done, Brandon.
Nice.
Well, what do you think? Should we call it a show? I think we've covered literally everything anyone cares about.
How many callers do we have on the line waiting?
The switchboard is lighting up.
Yes, hey, I think you guys didn't talk about Taylor Swift enough. It would have been nice if so you guys were a little bit mean to Taylor Swift. All right, they're all Swifties calling in. We gotta turn the phones off. We can't do this.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
All right, buddy. Well, yeah, that's it. No world rankings, but
we'll bring the heat next week with them.
I'll take full responsibility, but hey, we got the episode out there. We're officially headed into week 4, and we'll be back soon with our pick'em pandemonium for the rest of our games. So,
all right,
I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Peace.